Really myself in my room and finish my Java project. This is last week.
Okay, so last time we left it off at this box right here, the title, description. Hopefully you guys have all done it. And today we're going to look into commenting, okay? So commenting is going to be very similar to how we post, but instead of posting, the comments that we create will be linked to the post, okay? So whenever we open up the post in it, like a new page or something, this comments will expand and show us what's in it, okay? So do you think we should add comments to this screen, or should it be inside of the post detail page? What do you think would be a good idea? A pop-up with like post on the top and the comments on the bottom? That would be a good idea. I like that. By the way, we can also at the same time learn how to build a pop-up. Okay. So in order to build a pop-up, it takes some JavaScript. Okay. We need to be able to display an overlay on top of your current page. The good news is that you don't have to build it yourself. Okay. There's a package, there's a library that we've been using for a long time, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's called Headless UI. Have you heard of this? Have I mentioned this to you?
I don't think we use it, but you told us about it.
Okay, so Headless UI. Let me explain what this UI is. Okay, I'll explain it part by part. So UI means it's already built all of these functional components. All of these components takes JavaScript to build. Okay, it's not just pure HTML and CSS. It takes the JavaScript. And this group of people, they've built it in React code. So that you can just pull this in and use it in your project. For example, things like the switch toggle, combo box, which is a dropdown that you can type in and search for, list box, which is like a dropdown that you can just select, a menu dropdown, disclosure, dialog. So dialog is that pop-up that we were talking about. It's the modal. Okay, we can click into here and see how this is being used. This is the code, and this is the pop-up. Okay, I can click this to dismiss it. I can click this to open the pop-up. Okay, completely free. Okay, everything I'm showing you is going to be free. And they built this to support Tailwind. Okay, it's the same group of people that built Tailwind that built the Headless UI. Okay, they made Tailwind and Headless UI free, but they made Tailwind UI that uses both Tailwind CSS and Headless UI paid. Does that make sense to you? So they made over $2.5 million every year from selling Tailwind UI licenses that runs on both free stuff like Headless UI. This is how you can make money from software. Okay, simplest example. Now we're going to use this, but one thing to note is that the Headless UI, the Headless, where's this word come from? Headless means it doesn't carry any styles. Okay, it's completely raw. When you just install this package, npm install at headless/react, what's going to happen is as soon as you use it like this, okay, no style is going to come with it. Everything is going to be raw HTML, but it will work. All the transitions, all that stuff will work, but everything will look very raw.
So when you show up like
it wouldn't show as this. This is the beautified version with Tailwind. Okay, you have to add Tailwind to make it look nice, but the functionality will be there. So the benefit is that you can use this package with any other CSS framework. Instead of Tailwind UI, instead of Tailwind CSS, you can use it with other libraries. There's a lot of them out there, like Chakra, Bootstrap, Material UI.
Does it use like hide function?
Hide function and yeah. And it needs to display on top of everything, and needs to be dismissible by clicking off in the other areas. Like you can click off the pop-up to dismiss it, or you can press the escape key to escape it. Yeah, all that is JavaScript. You need like some kind of like key listener on your keyboard, on key down. If the key equals to escape, you do something to the pop-up. Okay, there's a lot of things involved. And you can also customize what goes into this box. So if we want to build a pop-up, we need this library. Okay, any questions so far? Cool. And the benefit of Headless is I'll speak to it again, is to give you the flexibility to use any style framework that you want. Okay, and in this case, we choose to use Tailwind because it looks nice and it's already there. So if we want to build it, there are some examples in tailwindui.com for us to use. Okay. So on the right side, we have headless UI. On the left side, we have Tailwind UI, and I'll show you how they've used it in Tailwind UI. So if I scroll down to dialog, pop, wait, what does it say? If I scroll down, keep scrolling, application UI, I believe it's over action box. Yeah, you see some of these familiar names, right? Alerts, empty states, modal. Oh, there we go. Overlays, modals. You see that? We're gonna click that. And it's going to show you one of the applications of that headless UI, okay, right here. And we can dismiss it, see? And if I look at the code, what do you guys see? Import dialog transition from headless UI, Reacts. You see that? And what's the example over here? Same stuff, right? So you can see it's using the same thing under the hood, but the only difference is when you use them, you have these class names. You see these class names? Right, this one doesn't have any class names. So you know this one will show you a very raw UI. And you know this one will be beautiful. Right? Huh? What?
It's easier if we just.
You want to use the ugly one?
So the left one.
The left one? Yeah, we will use the left one. I'm just showing you where it came from. Okay. The only difference between left and right is the left side has more CSS added to it. Okay. So it will look like this screen over here. Okay. So now we just need to figure out what our comments and posts is going to look like. So we're going to find a good place to, okay, how about this one? Well, actually, how about this one? You guys like this one? We're going to put the title up here, description down here, and people whoever posted this, their profile picture will be up here. How about that? And then over here, instead of cancel and deactivates, we'll add our comments down here. Yeah, sounds good. So we're going to add this to our code. We're going to basically copy this entire code. By the way, this is a function component. We're going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to drop it into our code. We're obviously not going to add it to a landing page. We're going to create a new file based on this components. We're going to create a folder called components to put all of our components in. We're going to create a new component called the post modal.tsx. Okay, I'm going to call it post modal.tsx. I'm going to paste everything in here. Okay, and I'm going to rename the function to post modal. Okay, and I will rename it and then change how I export it. I don't want to default export it. The export post modal equals to function array brackets. Okay, am I confusing anybody so far? And then I don't want to export default. I just want to export const. Okay. The difference between export default and export const is every file only allows you to export default once. And you can export const many, many times. So when you import stuff, if it's export const, you get to import them in a list like this, in brackets like this. But if you export defaults, you don't do this. But when you import it, you do this. You remove the bracket and you can only import one thing. But if you want to export multiple things, this is how you import them on the other side. Do you see that? So I want to be able to export multiple things from this file so that when I import them, I could just write post modal and it will automatically direct me to this file. It will automatically add the import statement on the top. In opposed to when I do export default, this name post modal wouldn't have mattered. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'll show you the difference. Export default, post modal, okay? Function. Oh, hold on, let me see how I did it. Export default function, post modal. If I export default like this, what's going to happen is the name that I assigned it, post modal, will not be visible globally in my folder, so I can auto import it in any file that I want. Because when I export default it, the name that I give to the export to the export function does not show up like globally. So it's harder for me to import it from other places. If I remember it as post modal, and I type the word post m, that IntelliSense dropdown is not going to show up, so I can press enter and it automatically imports. This is like a little trick that I came up with in my time of developing. So it's always better to export const, even if you're not exporting multiple things from one file. Okay, it doesn't really hurt to just export const. So I like to always fix it to be export const. Okay, you got to know the difference so that you know why you're doing things. Okay, there we go. Now everything's fixed up. All right, so this component is now created. We need to integrate it into the landing page. Okay. Oh, by the way, somebody asked me to extract components from the landing page into other files. I'll do that today, and I'll include it in this recording. Okay, so you guys know how to trim down the landing page. By the way, the post modal is one of my efforts in trimming down the landing page. I could obviously add this post modal component entirely into the landing page without creating a component. It will make it easy to communicate states and props between two things, but it will make it really, really long. And over time, you will have 10,000, 20,000 lines in one file, and that's not good, okay? So I'm separating it into a different file, and this is my first step into cutting down the lines on landing page. So now that I have post modal, I can obviously import it here. I'm gonna come down to the HTML portion, and this is a popover. What is this? Yeah, I'll fold it up for now. It's not related to me. The thing is, I can put my post modal anywhere I want on this file, on this page. Because why? Because this post modal doesn't really exist on the page until I open it, right? It doesn't really exist on the page. Even if it shows on my page, it shows on top of everything else. So does it matter which part of HTML I put it in? It doesn't really matter. So I like to put it at the end of my HTMLs, after everything else. Oh, what the? Obviously, I'm going to put a whole component here. I'm going to just put post modal. You see that? That's it. Okay, I just put post modal here. Can everybody see it? Is it too small? So this post modal is now added to my code. One more thing I like to do is, if I'm adding modals to my page, to make the modal a little more isolated from the rest of the code, because it doesn't really interfere with the rest of the code, right? It lives on top of everything else visually. I like to add a fragment. Do you guys remember what fragments are? Yeah, the two arrows here, empty tags, okay? Why do we need empty tags? Under what condition do we need empty tags? Do you remember? When I have more than one child that I'm trying to render, okay? Because React doesn't like it when I have a div and a post modal side by side when I try to render them in the top level, okay? It's fine if you put it in the div, like it's fine. This is not good because React doesn't like to render two things at a time. But React is okay when you put a div around them, okay? You see, this is fine now. But without it, React gives you an error because it cannot render two children at a time. So if I don't want to add a div, empty div, that just slows down my page. If I don't want to add an empty div and I want to be able to render two things in my children brackets, I could just add empty tags here. This doesn't add a div around them. It just goes around that React restriction of no more one child policy. Okay. I've said it a couple times, but hopefully you can remember it this time. Next time I ask you this question, someone should be able to answer it. Okay. All right, so I'm putting this post modal down here because I want to avoid having to touch that React policy, and I don't want to mess up any of the styles in here, even though it's not likely that I will mess up any styles, just for precaution, okay? So post modal would display down here, and we're going to jump back to the page and see if it shows up on the page. You see that? This is the post modal. Okay, this is the post modal. Why is it showing on my page already? I haven't even triggered it. Let's study the post modal components here. What states do we have? Open, set open is set to true for automatically. We're going to make it false, and guess what? It's gone. All right. Now we know that this state now controls the post modal open and close, right? Who should have control over this modal? Who should which components should control this model's open and closed status?
Above it.
Which component should determine, well, I guess my question is, where should this state go? Should it stay in post modal or should it go up one level to the landing page? You had a good point. A button should control whether or not this open or close, right? Would that button be inside of a post modal? Or would it be outside of post modal? Outside, where is it? Where is it? Where is that button? You're very close. Where's that button that should open up this this post? Each individual post, right? Right here, this whole thing, right? Or because we are clicking this to like it, I don't want to have to conflict it. So how about this? We're gonna click this button and this will open up the post modal. Okay, but where is this button? This button is in which components? The comment button, where is that in the components? In the landing page components, right? All right, so now we have a problem where Mark, so now we have a problem where we have a landing page that has a modal. And I need to make the landing page control the open or closed status of the modal, right? And that is in a post button. And later on, because I'm going to take the post, the components out of the landing page, very likely I'm going to have a post component inside of landing page, which is not directly inside of landing page, but it will be in separate components. The action that was being performed on the post components will likely go up into landing and control this open status. And then this open status will be passed down to the modal to control its open and close. Does that make sense? So the state will live on the landing page and it will control the open and close. But who triggers the state to change? It's the post that will be triggered from an on-click event. It will send an event up to landing that will trigger the state to change. And then the state change will change the state of open, and that open state will be passed out to the modal. Okay, that's how components can communicate with each other, even if they're not the same components, even if they're not directly like parents-children relationship. They can have a common parent, which is the common parents, the smart components. They can do this by sending states up, props down. Okay, and the smart component controls the states. This can go many different levels down. Let's say I have a button component that will actually trigger the on-click. The button events will go up to post will go up to landing, and landing will handle the state change, and then that open status will pass down to modal. Okay, so modal don't get to control whether or not it's open or closed. The component that houses the modal should control the open closed status. Why? Because if modal controls the open or closed status, the actions coming up from the button or the post would not get to the modal because they do not share, they are not like directly related. I don't have a post inside of modal, I don't have a button inside of modal. They need a common parents to communicate that change. So that common parents will always be the state, where the state is. Okay, that's the first reason. Second reason is we always want to keep the states in the same place, so that it's easier to manage across the board. Okay. All right. I was too far from the computer, so I don't think the computer.
I should get you a little TikTok.
All right, so I'm going to demonstrate to you how that is done. Okay. First step. But now everyone understands why we need to move this state into the landing page, right? There are things that we move into the landing page, and there are things that we move out of the landing page. We move states into the landing page, and we move components out of the landing page. Okay, that's our direction. I'm going to fold these up. They don't really matter for me. I will remove them later when we have real data. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm gonna fold this up, fold this up, fold this up, so we have more space. All right, so we're gonna create a new state. We're gonna call it open set open equals to use state default to false. Okay. I could just copy paste, but the problem is, do I want to call it open or say open? Or do I use a different name? What name should I use? What modal? Post modal open. Set post modal open. It is long, but imagine you have more modals on this page. It's more specific and you don't confuse it with other modals. Okay. We'll have a lot of modals on this page. All right. So once we have this state, we can get rid of this. And first step is, how do we pass this state down to this post modal components? How do we do it? How do we put the open states, pass it down to the post modal? Through what? Through something called props, right? Open equals to modal, post modal open. Can we do that? This is a props that we're passing down, right? Yeah? Why is everybody quiet? This is something we learned in the first class of React. This is how we pass stuff down. Remember that student card that we built? We're passing names and age down. You remember that? Yes?
Like 3 months.
Yeah, it's almost 3 months ago.
Wait, isn't that before our summer?
No, after summer.
Huh?
Yeah,
No.
Or React started before summer?
not important, not important.
It's been half a
But do you understand why I'm doing this? This is not completely strange to you, right? Okay. Now we have an issue. We're trying to put the open states down here, but type open boolean is not assignable to type, does not exist on the props. So we need to define the props through an interface. Open boolean. Okay, we're gonna start with that. And then how do we put it in here? Open. Just like that. Okay, this way we define this object to be the shape of this props. Okay, very, very simple. Any questions so far? No question? No? Okay. All right. All right, next step is, should we allow the modal to be able to close itself?
Wait, close after.
We should, because the dialog here has a function called onClose. So this onClose will be triggered every time we do an action that relates to closing the modal. For example, clicking off the page, or clicking off the modal, or pressing the escape. All of that is being combined in here. Okay. All of that magic is being done here. Okay, in the dialog. If you're interested to find out, you can also click on the source code of dialog to find out. I bet you don't want to read that. But let me just tell you, this onClose allows you to do all of the magic things. So you should allow it to close itself, which is by passing the function that closes it. What's the function that closes it? What's the function that closes it? Set post modal open, right? If we can pass this function down to post modal, we can let post modal close itself, right? What are we passing to this function to close it? Let's say I want to close it now. Set post modal open. What do I put in the parentheses if I want to close it? True means what? Open or close? True means open. What does false mean? False means close. So we would put a false into this parentheses to close it. Got it? Yeah? Good. Let me turn off autocomplete. All right. Okay, so let's pass this down into the next level. So how do we do that? Set close equals to post set post modal open. Okay. And then once I have to set close, it gives me an error. How do I fix that? It says it doesn't exist in the types. What can I do to address that? Somebody. Yeah. Alvin? Oh. Anyone? I'll give you a hint. It starts here. What do I write here? Close? Did I call it close? I call it set close. And what do I write here? What is the type of this right here?
Boolean.
This is a function. Okay, if you're not sure how to do this, if you're not sure what to put as the type, just hover onto it. Just hover onto the value that you pass it, and then copy whatever this tells you to copy. Just copy this thing right here. Yeah, the whole thing. Because it tells you const set modal open colon. That's the type of React dispatch, React set states action Boolean. Okay, very, very detailed type. Put it right here and you will never be wrong. Okay. So once I added it here, can I add the set close over here? Huh? As soon as I type S, guess what? Ooh. It gives me that suggestion right away. Press enter and you have it. Okay. Now, what do I put here instead then? Set close. Right, everything works. Let me scroll down and see if anything else needs my attention. Oh, I have a set open false. What can I change this to? Set close. Do I pass in the false? Do I pass in the false? Set close is basically set modal open, right? Because I made them equal to each other. So if I pass in the false to set close, that's the same as if I'm passing the false to set post modal open, right? We just discussed it. It's the same thing. So set modal open parentheses false will close the modal, right? And that's exactly what we're doing here, right? That's why it didn't give us any error. It works right out of the box. What about here? Set close. See? And we put a false here. And we're all good. No error so far. And we can get rid of use states import from here, right? We're not using any more states in post modal. Save. Okay. Now, the modal is now being completely controlled by the landing page. Now we need to be able to open this modal somehow. We just talked about how we want to click on the comment button to open it. So let's find a comment button. Right here. All right, so this is the chat bubble icon, the button right here. This is the button that should trigger open the modal, right? What do I type here for the on click? On click, what happens? Callback function, set close, what? Do we call it set close? Are we calling it set close in landing page? What do we call it? Let's open up landing page on the right side. What do we call it? Huh? What do we call it? Set post modal open. And what do we pass into the parentheses? True. True. What did you say? True, because we want to open it here. Right? On click, we open it. All right, save. And question, why do we need a callback function here? Why not just write it like this? The reason why is if we just write it like this, whenever this button is being rendered on the page, which is instantly right after you refresh the page, this function will be triggered automatically without you even clicking on it. Okay, it will automatically call. And that's not what we want. So we want to wrap it around in a callback function so that it only runs when we click on it. Okay, save. Now we're done. Let's test it. It's not working. Why is it not working? I did save.
Did you say?
I did.
Another one.
It's not working.
You saved it post one.
The saving the post modal one? Yeah, I did. I always save. I saved. Why is it not working? I actually don't know. Okay. Let's find out together.
Okay, that's a lie then.
Let's find out together.
You know,
So let's console log. Let's add brackets here so we can run multiple lines of JavaScript. So let's console log. I was clicked. Okay. I want to first be able to eliminate my hypothesis. Okay. My first hypothesis is the click didn't happen. Okay. If the click happened, then I'm sure this function was called. If this function was called and it's not showing, then something's wrong with the states. I'm just trying to figure out what is wrong with what. Okay, so I'm going to console log here. If I was clicked was console logged, that means the click happened at the right place, right? Very many times when students come to me with questions is if something didn't happen, They don't look at the inspect element, they don't console log anything, and they tell me something that didn't happen. All right, the first thing I need to figure out is, did you click on the right button that you expect to click on? And this console log will tell me if I did. Okay, let's check it out. How do I check my console logs, guys? How do I check my console logs? Right click, inspect element. See, you guys know that. Why do you ask me the same thing every single month, every single week? Let me click here. Let me click here. No click happened. I was not clicked, so I'm not clicking on the right stuff. So our code didn't even get here, right? Why did it not get here? Am I looking at the right button? That's the next thing I want to find out. So how do I visually see I'm clicking on the right button? Well, I can add a 1, 2, 3 here, right before the chat bubble icon, and I can see if I'm clicking on the right stuff. Do you guys see 1, 2, 3?
No.
Don't either. Okay, so I'm not looking at the right code. I didn't add the code to the right place. So where is this? Trending. It says trending up here. Do I have trending? I don't have trending.
On the thing?
On the right side?
Oh, yeah, no, it's on the left.
What?
Like under community.
Oh, turning to the right, under.
Oh.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. I see it here. So what does that mean? If I click here, so I added code to the wrong place, to the wrong comment icon. See, we just figured out a bug on our own. And I hope you can start figuring this out yourself. Okay. Huh? Yeah, we need it anyway there. So, but it would probably be, actually, yeah, we do need it there. So we're going to leave it there. But we need, now our job is to find where this is, right? So in order to find where this is, I'm going to first get rid of the 1, 2, 3, and then I get rid of the console log. Okay, always remember to clean up your code after you test with it. Okay, and then can I remove this entire bracket? I'll just leave it. Okay. So I'm going to scroll up in my code. I'm going to try to find where I'm supposed to put. Okay, now I know on this entire page, there's only one place that I'm mapping the post outs right now, which is the center part, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna instead search for .map, and that will help me find. Well, that's 8 results.
Why don't you search for
Post 55 results.
first?
First post. What?
That's already.
No, these posts are dynamic. These are from the database. Huh? What do you mean? Okay, I'm gonna search for recent instead. Okay, I think recent will be probably the closest to my code. Recent. Oh, there's only 2 results. Oh, but the recent is in here.
Not sure.
Oh, here we go. Recent questions. You see that? Post.map. This is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to find the button. Oh, so many stuff. Just keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Title, okay, I'm close. Handle like. All right, I'm very close. Likes. Okay, here's our chat bubble. Awesome. So what do we do? What do we do here, guys? Read me the code. On click,
Equals back.
Comment function.
callback function. Why do I need a callback function? Yeah. What's the function?
Something modular.
Post modal open. Or set post modal open. True. Okay, let's try it. Yay.
Yay.
Woohoo! So we just did what's on the board. We are using the landing page to control the modal. Okay, next step will be to extract my post component out of the landing page. So my landing page can save some space. How quick? Does it make you excited?
Yeah, it does. Wow, so exciting.
So achieving.
Can AI do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI can help us answer our questions,
Yeah,
but it won't do this. And AI is, let me just say this, generative AI doesn't act on its own. Humans will never let AI act on its own. If we let AI act on its own, what's going to happen is Terminator, like Skynet, right? You start launching nukes at each other. So under the condition that AI would never act on its own, someone always needs to provoke it to do something. Like you have to prompt it to do something. Who's going to prompt it?
Us.
The best candidates to prompt it will be people who know how software engineering works. So that makes the question, instead of AI will replace us, will be how will AI help us?
Wait, then what about when you press tab?
Hmm?
What happens?
That's where AI is helping me.
Oh,
That boosts my productivity. I love AI. Okay, so next, let's take a look at how we can extract the post components, okay? Something that Alvin has been dying to know for weeks. Ah, okay, let's start with the bigger things. Okay, let's start with the bigger things, starting from the top. Starting off with popover. What is this popover? When the mobile menu is open, add overflow hidden. Okay, so this is probably the mobile menu, the popover. If I, okay, what's in it? It has the search, open menu, go premium, open user menu, new post. Okay, so I think it's this top bar here, but instead it's for mobile. You see that? If I reduce it, this is that popover that we just saw on the landing page. Hmm?
yeah.
Yeah. So let's start by moving this to a different component. How about that? Because I know this component will be reused over and over again on different pages. So it doesn't make sense to have a copy of it on every single page. Can you stop? Pay attention to the class. Navbar.tsx. Okay. And we're going to take the entire popover. And then the navigation. This is the navigation, by the way. Let me just make sure I'm not taking more things than necessary. Oh, this is the whole thing, Bash. Let me just make sure this is navigation, title, description. Okay, so I think it's just the popover. Okay, so let's take a look at how many lines we have in the popover. Guys, how many lines do we have? 210. And that gives us a total of 960 lines of code. As soon as I move the popover to a different file, I will be down to 700 lines of code. Okay, let's start with that. It's a pretty good improvement. So popover, you're gonna be gone, copy and paste it, save. And what happens to the landing page right away? My navigation bar is gone. It's like a person without eyebrows. All right, we're gonna go to the navbar page. We're going to export const navbar equals to return. Paste the popover here. I'm gonna get so many errors. That's because I need to add the imports here. So I'm gonna remove the R, add the R. Class names, remove the S, add the S. Okay, the class names function is not being exported. So I'm gonna go back to the landing page. I'm going to find my my class names function. This function here is going to be used in so many different files. So I will just put it in a file called helpers.tsx.ts. Okay. If I'm not writing HTML, I don't need to write the TSX, just TS is fine. I'm going to put this class names into helpers and I will export it. Export function class names. Make sense? And if I need to use it in landing page, I will just import it. Okay. Where do I need it in landing page? I need it here, right? So I'll remove the S, add the S, press enter, automatically import it. I go back to nav page, navbar, remove the S, add the S. And then what do I need to import? Remove the N, add the N. Just go down the list. Add all the imports you need. You bring up a really good point, and I wish I came up with that first. All right, so now here, what do I have? User.image URL. What is that? User.image URL. Maybe it's from the landing page. Let me see where that is. Right here. You see that? User navigation. And I'll take this user navigation into the navbar. Put it here. And then I'll keep going down the list. What's this? Can I find any user?
It's like a.
Yeah, where's this user thing? Oh, it's here. Okay. So on the navigation bar, I'm actually using the user state. So I'm going to take this user state, put it here as a state. Okay, I need this. Now that error will be gone. I'm gonna keep going down the list. Transition, add this, fragments, add this. User navigation, I already have that. Navigation, okay, I need to add navigation. So I'm gonna go back and find navigation. Take this, paste it here. And then what else? User navigation, new post, user. All right, I think we're good. Still some errors. What is this? Users possibly no. Okay. If users possibly no, all I need to do is add a question mark here. So that will handle the uncertainty, whether or not it's no or not. Name does not exist. Okay, user dot. It doesn't have name. I'll put user email here for now. Okay, it's not very important. And we don't have the image. We don't have the avatar, so we'll just put avatar URL here. We haven't set it up yet, but we'll just put it in user metadata, okay? User metadata dot first name. We haven't set it up yet, but we'll set it up later. So we're gonna keep it for like this for now. And we're almost done. I just need to find, okay, here. User metadata dot avatar URL, okay? You don't have to figure these out right now. They can be left alone for now. So I'm gonna import these icons. Okay, now we've imported all these icons. This navigation bar is ready to be used. We're gonna go back to landing page. We're gonna find a place where we're supposed to add a navigation bar, which is here, nav bar. And we're good. Okay, let's go back to the screen and find out if it works. Can read properties of undefined. Okay. The places that I add user metadata to is possibly undefined. So I'm going to add a question mark here as well. Question mark, question mark. All right, refresh again. Here we go. We have the navigation bar back. Okay, everything still look visually the same, but we have successfully conducted a surgical removal of the navigation bar from the landing page. We're now down to 744. Okay, even better. All right, so let's move on to the next components that we can extract. So the next thing I want to visually extract is the navigation, the bars over here. Okay, I think these can be removed from the landing page and treat it as a component. So I'm gonna call it vertical nav. Okay, vertical nav. So I'm gonna create a component called the vertical nav. Okay, let's find where the vertical nav is. It's called home, popular communities, and trending. Let me find where that is. Home, trending. Okay, here we go. It's being used in something called navigation. So we're going to look for navigation where navigation is being used. It's right here. Okay, and it's inside of something called sidebar. So I'm going to take this sidebar, actually including this div right here. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to see what happens to my visual web page. It's gone, completely gone, right? So all I need to do is to add that back here in the form of a component. That way, I'll be able to put this in another page, right? But the question is, should I just take the nav or should I take the div along with it? If I take the div along with it, that means I have to control the layout. Basically, how many columns of grid this nav bar should take. But in reality, we should never make the components that we're using determine the layout. It's always the parents component, which is the smart component, that determines the layout. It's like the smart component creates these slots that we can inject components in. If the components decide what the layout should look like, this component will be less reusable. Does that make sense? Really?
If it's in the parents, then like multiple children can use it, but like. if
Yeah,
it's-
anybody can be in the slots, but if we make the children component determine the layouts, the children component can only be fitting to
No.
its designated places, is less reusable, is less slottable. Okay, so the conclusion is we leave this in or we leave this out of the components that we're about to create. Leave this out, so we should leave it out into the parents. Okay, the parents will create these slides, these slots. So I'm only going to take the nav. And as soon as I take the nav, I'm going to check my code again. See, this entire blank space is being left out here. Anything can go in here, not just the vertical nav. Okay, that's the benefit. And I can also put something underneath the vertical nav, and other components underneath the vertical nav. That means I don't have to rewrite these layouts in the vertical nav and any other nav that goes after the vertical nav, goes onto the bottom of the vertical nav. Okay, so leaving this layout in has many benefits, and I hope you follow that in your future projects. Now, we're going to create a new component. It's already created, so we're going to paste this nav in here, and the same practice goes again. We need to add a navigation in here as well. So let's take the navigation. Oh, now it's grayed out. What does that mean? As soon as I took the nav out, this is not being used anywhere else, right? So that means we can get rid of it from this page. We just saved 7 lines of code. We're going to put it in this page. You see? And then we can have home icon, file icon, user icon, arrow trending icon. Okay. And then what else? Class names. We had it in helpers, right? We're good. No, vertical nav is done. So let's add this vertical nav to my components. Where do I add it? Do you remember that div of slots? It's right here. Let's add it here. What do I write? Vertical nav. See? All right, let's see how many lines of code we have now in landing page. Barely 700. Okay, it was pretty good improvements. Now, before we do the next components, I want to ask you this question. Navbar and vertical nav, they share some very important traits, right? For example, the navigation. I have navigation in both places. They're exactly the same. They share the same inputs. What can we do with that? Put in the helpers, very good. I'm going to open up helpers, and I'm going to drag this navigation into the helpers. And then that also means I need to import all of these things from the into the helpers, right? I'm going to import these into the helpers, and then I'm going to export the helpers. I'm going to export the navigation, and you will take that export from that helpers file. And guess what? My vertical nav is down by, I don't know, 20 lines of code. And what can I do with my navbar? I can get rid of this navigation and what? And import it from the helpers. Very good. Navigation. Navigation. Okay, here we go. So we remove the end at the end. We're done. And we can get rid of these inputs. We also cut down 20 lines of code in navbar. So whenever you see room for improvements, you can start doing this in your different files. I don't do this enough in my projects. Okay, so one of the tasks I would really love my students to help me with is to help me cut down the lines of code in a lot of my components that in some of the pages that I built. Yes, it will be a very cool project for you guys to get practice on, and it will provide a lot of value to me. Okay, I don't like to do it because I don't learn from it. It's just a waste of time for me, but I need it done. You know, because some of my files are really long. Yeah, I have some files that are over 1,000 lines of code, and
What if I turn those over 1,000 lines to 0 lines?
I will buy you AAA.
With 0 lines of code?
Yeah.
Give me it, I'll delete it.
Okay. It'll be a cool project for you, right?
Yeah, delete it.
But you have to delete it in a sensible way. Okay, you have to remember to believe in the layout. Don't mess up my page. I mean, after you finish with my page, the page will probably look fine, like visually, but logically it's all messed up. You know what I mean? So gotta follow 2 strategies. First, visually leave out all the layout stuff out of your components. Your components should be as reusable as possible. Second thing is leave all the states in your smart components. Don't scatter your states in different components. It will still work, but it will mess up the logic. And it makes the code less reusable because less components can share that state. They can only share the states if they're from the common parent. Okay. So as long as you remember those, you should be good to go. I'm going to get rid of the helpers for now. Now, let's continue cutting down the landing page. What's the next thing we can cut down? Let's start with who to follow and training. How about that? Should they be 2 components or 1 component?
Well, that.
Let's make it 2 components. 1 component for who to follow. We're going to call it who to follow list. Another component called trending list. How about that?
Hmm.
Okay. So let's create who to follow components. Helpers TS is a place where everything that's being reusable in other components go. So they don't have to make copies of it in different files. And then every time you want to update something, you can update in one place instead of in 20 different places. Okay, who to follow? Export const who to follow. And this is becoming like a cookie cutter task, right? This will probably be the easiest week for you. You can watch the recording for like 20 minutes and you'll be able to do the whole thing. Yeah, we're just repeating the same thing. Let me move this to the right. So let's find out where who to follow is. Who to follow. Okay, here we go. So let's figure out what is considered layout and what is considered the actual components by removing it from the page. I'm suspecting that this section is it. Let's see. What's the second section says trending. Okay, I think I'm right. I think this section is the biggest component that wraps around everything that we need, right? Yeah. Okay, let's get that, remove it, and test it on the page first. Okay, it's completely gone. Okay, the layout's still there. So we've saved, paste it in here. And who to follow is missing. So where can we give who to follow? Right here. So question is, should we put who to follow into the component that says who to follow list.tsx or into the helpers? Why?
You're only using it in that.
Very good, very good. It's specific to that component. It's not being reused in different places. In opposed to the navigation that's being used in 2 different places, right? So let's take this, put this in here, okay? So it's important to know where to put things based on their usage, okay? Their purposes. Now, what else do we need here? We need a plus icon, right? That's easy. Done. All right, so we're gonna come down here, find out trending. Okay, and what's this? This is the section. I remember this is the place, right? Who to follow list. Okay. Let's move on to the trending. Create a new file called trending list.tsx. Basically the same thing, right? Take the section, take the whole section, paste it here, export const trending list. Return, paste. What do we need? Trending post. What else? We need this chat bubble stuff. Paste it here. We also need something else, remember? Set post modal true, right? How do we get this into this file? Because we can't move the state to here, right? We'll first add a state here. I mean, add a component here. And you can tell me how I can get this from landing page to the trending list. How do I pass down my states? How do I pass down my states? My set state function. How do I do it for the modal list? It's right here. You can see this? Do you see this?
Open.
How do I add it to the trending list? What do I write here? Do I need a state or do I need a state function? The set state function. The function. So what do I write here? Set close equals to set closed modal. Okay. It gives me error. What do I do? It says set close doesn't exist on the props. I make it how? Right here? Interface? Do I write an interface here or here? Line 2 or line 4? Line 2? You sure?
No.
You are sure? That was a trick question. Interface props. And what do I write here? Set close. What's the type of it?
Or just copy and paste the.
Hover here. Copy paste this. Oh, you love copy paste, don't you? Paste it. What's the next step? How do I access it from the props? I'll go here. Is it an object? It's always an object. Props is always an object. What do I write here? What's in this object, guys? Say close. Now, if you don't know what to write in here yet, don't worry. Just make this object equal to the type of props. And then you'll get automatic suggestions. Set, close. You see this? Press enter and you're good. Okay. And now you will use it down here by changing this to say what? Set close. Yes. Very good. Now, what else do we need? Trending post, right? How do we get trending post? Up here. Take all that. Paste it. Paste it here or here. I only put stuff here if it's really if I need it for my components. Like if I need it for a state or something. Okay. I'll put it out here if it doesn't have to do with any states. I leave things out here as much as I can. Got it? Unless I absolutely have to leave it into the components. The reason why is every time a state changes, even if your parent state changes, your entire component re-renders. Okay. When it re-renders, it will recreate this entire object, which is slow. Okay. It's unnoticeably slow, but a lot of that will slow down your app tremendously. Okay. Is Jeff awake? Jeffrey, wake up. We just talked about some really exciting stuff.
Yeah, about robotics.
Did you hear the things I said? Okay, good. All right, so next we have the trending list error-free, right? And we have the landing page error-free because the trending, okay, it's being added here with all the necessary stuff. Let's take a look out here. Refresh. Everything's still here, right? Let's see how many lines of code we're down to. 564. Woo! Okay, what's the next thing we can get rid of? This middle part, right? Let's start with the box up here that allows you to post stuff. Okay. This will be a little hard. So everyone, I need you to pay a lot of attention to this. It will be equally amount of effort, even if you make it a pop-up. It doesn't really reduce the amount of effort. Okay, so let's start by putting this into a component. We're going to create a component called, what should we call it? Create post box. Okay, we're going to create a component here. Create post box. This will be hard, guys. I need you to follow up with what I'm doing. All right, let's find the component. Let's find the code where it happens. See, the fact that we are down to only 500 lines of code makes it a lot easier to find the stuff that we need.
You say you're gonna make it like this.
Yeah. I will make it less than 20 lines. Okay, so I suspect this is where it is, the form. Okay. And after the form, it's the select a tab, but it's SR only, which means it's screen reader only. Every time you see SR only, that means it's not visible to human eyes. It's visible to screen readers. You guys know what screen readers are? For the blind people, if they want to read a website, they use something called screen reader. And this,
Oh, they did read out loud.
yeah, it will read out, select the tab for them. But
Wait, how
but
do
normal
you find
people,
the screen reader button?
huh?
How will they find the button for that? They're fine.
Well, they just have like a device. They just press a button.
They're not offline. Like,
So people can still see
they
it.
can see like
Yeah,
blurred
yeah.
lines.
Yeah, they can be like very very bad assets. Like no glasses can fix that.
That's basically.
Bad for you. Okay. Too bad. So here's my tabs. What are my tabs? Let me put a 1, 2, 3 here to make sure where that is. Okay. Where's my 1, 2, 3, guys?
Right there.
I just added another 1, 2, 3 here. So I need to find out where it is. Where is it?
There.
Where?
There.
Yeah.
Where?
It's on the search bar.
Where? Which search bar?
Oh, never mind.
All right. Why is it not showing up?
We don't have it. It's an error, tab
Huh?
on blah blah error.
What?
Stop current error, it's underlined right,
Where?
in the code.
No, that doesn't matter. It should still, let me put the tab, huh? One longer? Like this?
Yeah,
What does it show?
scroll down.
Where is it?
Before it showed up on the upper right.
Let's study the code. Let's study the code. Let's study the code. What if I move this code out here, outside of the select? Where is it? Still doesn't show. What if I move it outside of div? Oh, it's right here. So what does that mean? Everything you put in here will be hidden. Why is that? Let's take a look at this
Oh,
div.
because it's two meter.
What does it say? Default to small screen hidden. Small screen hidden means that if it's above iPads, anything iPads and up will be hidden. Okay, so this components will be hidden on most screen sizes that's under iPads, and we're on laptops, so which means it should be hidden. So this is part of the tab. So I'm not interested in the tab right now. I'm interested in the box that's above it. So I'm sure that this is the box I'm looking for, right? Should I include this div? I shouldn't, because this div is the div that controls both, contains both the box and the tabs. I don't need the tabs, right? Do I need the tabs? I don't need the tabs in my create post box. It has nothing to do with create post. So I'll leave it out, logically leave it out. So this form is all I need, right? Take it, paste it in here. It's very long. And I've learned to immediately add create post box here, so I don't have to come back to it later, okay? But I will likely come back to it because I need to pass some props here. All right, let's take a look at the create post box components. Let's see what we need here. We need a set title, we need a title, we need set description, we need a description, we need paper clip icon, I can fix that, import it. We need handle post. All of these live in the landing components, right? What should we do with that? Now we're faced with two options. We can either follow this pattern where we send everything up for the landing page to manage, or we can manage everything from here. What's the best thing? What's the best course of action? Logic.
Yeah,
From there?
yeah.
What's the benefit of doing that?
So like, you don't have to do extra stuff.
That's not the reason I'm looking for, but that's one of the reasons. Let's think about the purpose of create post box. What does it do? You type stuff in there, and then when you hit post, it creates a post, right? Is there a necessity for us to manage it from landing page? Does any other components from the landing page tree that needs the state that I'm using here, like the title that I'm putting into the box, the description I'm putting into the box, the handle post function that I'm using on the button. Will any other component share in all three of those? I'm gonna write it here. Title, states, description states, and what else? Handle post, right? Handle post function. The question you should ask yourself is any other components from landing page going to share these with my post box? The answer is no. So what does that mean? There's no reason we should share it with landing page, if nothing else is gonna share it, right? So we will keep the states in my post box. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? So there are scenarios where we don't let landing page take control of something. If it's completely isolated from the landing page. So that means in the future, we can put this post box anywhere on any website, any component, any slot. And we'll be able to type title and description here and post it. And that post will go to the right place, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve, okay? Reusable components. And if anything gets in the way of reusable components, we let the reusable component take control.
Is that how big companies do it?
Yeah.
Then what in like? Okay,
Okay, so how do we move stuff in here? Starting with the states, that's the easiest. Up here, title, description, I'm gonna move both of you out into this component. Do we put it in line 2 or line 4? 4, why 4, why not 2? I want Ivy to answer that. Can I put my states in here? Why not?
It's
They are together. They are in one place.
with others
Where's my other states? I don't have any other states
in the.
in the landing. Like I should put it back here. Okay, now I want to put the states in this component. Why do I put it on line 2 versus line 4?
Because line 4 is a,
It'll be inside the column.
Very good, inside of the components. Ray, you are officially better than Ivy.
Hey,
I'm going to import the use
Jay is
states.
better than me, come on.
no.
You proud of that?
Huh?
Are you proud of that?
No.
It shouldn't be. You're older and you spend more time with me, okay? So you're disappointing.
No. Damn, that's crazy.
All right, next. The next thing we should move out is the function called handle post. Okay, it's already not being used by anything else, so it should be safe. Take this. All right, Ivy, again, do I put it on line 3 or line 6 or line 7? Do I put this function on line 3 or line 7? The function here, handle post, remember?
Should be under the. What's the use case?
Okay, because? Yeah, we usually put it there. Why? It gotta be inside of the components. Good. I forgot if it's this class or the other class. Somebody kept putting these stuff outside of the component. That's why I keep asking these questions. Oh, the other class, Eric. He does that all the time. Okay, this name profile is not found. Okay, that's something that we need to handle, right? Where's that profile coming from? Seems like a state. Ooh. So if it's a profile that's being used in the landing page, but also we also need it from the create post box. What can we do here? Make props. Where? Create post box, right? We would pass down the profile information to this component. This component will get it through the props. So that way we don't need to refetch the profile information, right? So let's do that. I'm going to find out where I use the components right here. I'll put profile here equals to profile. Okay, that's the easiest way. Now it's going to tell me profile is not found. Okay, Ivy, you got to tell me how I can fix this. How can I fix this? It says it's not in the props. How do I do that? Make a what? Make an interface? Where? Do I have to make it here? Why do I put it on top? Huh? It should be outside. Okay, interfaces are always outside the components. Very good. All right, what do I put here, Ivy? Profile, and what's the type? Hover over. Profile or no? Okay. So do I paste it here? Is that right?
Yeah.
Now it says profile is not found. What do I do? Remove the E, add the E, import it. Oh, gotta input the right stuff. Where's this profile coming from? Let's click here. Let's check the state where it's built. Ah, it's an interface that's being used in landing page. What can we do here?
Put the interface on that.
Copy paste the interface. It's being used in 2 different components. What should we do instead?
Make it into another file.
Put it into helpers.
Yeah, help her.
Very good. But the helpers is a pretty scattered place now. I would like to create a new file called interfaces because I know I'm going to have to use this a lot. Interfaces, okay? I'm going to put a lot of interfaces in here. Export interface profile. And then I will import the interface here. Similarly, I can also move like and post into interfaces, right? Export, export. And then I can import post. I can import what's like. Where's like? Where's like? Huh? What's that?
Schedule something, my parents scheduled it for me.
Hmm.
Yes. What was you waiting for?
Have a nice day, guys.
It's on here.
All right, so we just moved everything into interfaces and let's import it here. Awesome. So I still don't have access to profile. What's my next step, Ivy? Cannot find name profile. I have no access to profile. Ray, help her out.
Me?
Yeah. How do I get profile into this component? I now have the interface. Can I use it somewhere?
You replace it with dot prop
Yeah, but where, which line?
20.
Mm-mm.
You put props in.
We have to put the props here.
Oh. And then you put profile in that.
All right, now error's gone. This file is now error free.
Yay.
So we just moved the input box, create post box, and now we're down to line 456. Okay, very close.
Justify that.
What's the next step? Let's take this tabs out. Okay, this tabs. So I'm going to add a new file called post tabs. Okay. Okay, let's find the tabs. Here we go. Now this is only showing on bigger screens. We need to find the counterpart that shows on small screens. You see this? Default hidden. Oh, okay, never mind. So this shows on small screens and this shows on big screens. Do you see the difference in class names? So we need both of them. Okay. I'm gonna take this, put it in here. Now the problem is React doesn't like it when I have two children. Huh?
So do that two arrows.
Very good, to the arrows. Put it down here. Arrow's gone. Now let's move the tabs in here. Where's my tabs? Right here. Take it. Now I have no more const outside of my components. You see? It's completely gone. That was my last tab. That was my last piece of dummy code. Class names import from helpers. I have one last error right here. I can just leave that for now. It's not important. It was there before, so I'm not going to solve it now. So let's move down to the place where I have, what did I call it? Create post box components. It's right here. So I would put it down here. What did I call it? Post tabs. And we're good. Okay. Next step. Let's move the data that we have here into a different components. All right. Now we have we have to do it in two different steps. First step is we're going to move the entire list into a components, and then every individual tab, every individual card will be a separate components. How about that? We're going to make it two levels: the list and the card. Very much like how we did the to-do list. We have list and items. Okay. So we're going to start with a post list. We will have a lot of props. All right, so we have these recent questions, and we have this list over here. Okay, this is the list. We're gonna take this, we're gonna take this out, save, and guess what? Everything will be gone. So we are removing the right stuff, right? So we're gonna paste it down here into return. And where did I take it out from? Oh, right here. Okay. So it's gonna be called post list. But guess what? We just saw something very exciting. We're down to 187 lines of code already. Yay.
Wow. But then our post break has to.
Let's fix this big chunk of shit. Huh? What do you mean? It's legit. All right, let's add the icons. Oh, we're gonna have to add this somewhere, right? Who wants to do this later?
Jeffrey does.
Jeffrey does. Okay, Jeffrey, you were sleeping, so I'm gonna make you do it. Last names, transition. All right, it doesn't, okay.
Long day.
Okay, let's add the flag icon. If it doesn't let you automatically import from the closing tags, you should import it from the beginning tags. Yeah, imagine the lines of code that we could save by removing the imports from landing page. Look at how many stuff we're importing. Transition. Icon. Link. All right, I think we're, okay, handle like, okay, that's something else that we have to put in here. All right, so let's take a look at the top. Let's figure out this post. Where is this gonna come from? It's gonna come from a landing page, right? Oh, look at our look at our UI. We can now show the entire UI in one screen. See? Okay. I have something really cool after this, which is building a reusable UI, a reusable layout, not just a reusable component, but a reusable layout.
Sounds intriguing.
Very cool. That's how we can cut the lines of code down to less than 10. Okay, wait for it. Let's do the post list first. I'm gonna leave the post item for you to work on as homework. I'm just gonna show you the post list and you do the item yourself. How about that? Huh? I'm just gonna extract it to this level and you have to extract it one level further. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Ivy?
Right.
No, we have
Insane.
35 minutes.
I said the homework.
Oh, okay. That's why you're sleeping, right? All right, post. We gotta put posting here. How do I put posting here? Post equals to post, right? That's the state, right? Now it shows me an error. How do I fix it? Jeffrey? Shows me an error. Ivy, how do I fix it? Interface where? Do I put it here? Can I put it here? Outside, okay. And props, what do I put here? Post, what's the type? I like it when you say hover. Okay, so what does it say? Post array, okay. Now everything makes sense, right?
Now we have to
Import
use
from the
props.
interface, yay, interface
Now
file.
we have to use props.
Now, where do we use the props, Ivy? I show you, 我给你提示了. Okay, what do I put here?
Install it.
Big brackets, and then
Put it in.
colon and props. What am I putting here? Post. Okay, now we have post. Errors will be gone.
Oh,
Can I find name profile? How do I put profile in here? How do I have access to profile? Interfaces. What do I have to add here? Profile. And what's the type? What's the profile type? Where can we hover to find the profile type?
hover over profile.
Where's the profile?
Right there.
It's right here. We just used it in create post box. We can cross-reference.
So, but it's no.
Profile or no. So profile. Can we import it from interface? Yeah. And then we now have profile. How do we use it?
Put it, comment.
Ooh, look at that suggestion. Ah. And now this exists, right? The problem is now the post list is not happy. Profile is missing in the type. How do I fix that?
Quick fix, delete it.
Delete this? That's post. Why are you deleting post?
Add post list to post list. Wait, what?
What? You mean add profile to post list, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what if I misspell it? I just write PO. What happens?
Tab.
It gives me a suggestion, right? Tab, and then what?
Put, profile. Wow.
Fixed.
Smart.
All right, let's fix the other errors. Day.js is missing. Let's import it. Okay, and now it's fixed. What other errors do we have? We have two more errors down here. We have. What? Where's my code? Oh, right here. Handle like. Question is handle like shareable with any other components? Should we put it in this components? Should we put it in this components? Or put it in other put it in like landing page so other components can use it? First question is, will any other component use it? Who will use it? Who else is going to use it? Huh? Yeah, you gotta take a step back and ask yourself, is any other component going to use it? No, nothing's going to use it. So we're gonna move the handle like entirely into this component. That means more lines of code saved, right? Let's find it. Handle like, wow, that's huge. Look at that. That's 40 lines of code that we're gonna take out of landing. I'm gonna put it, where do we put it, guys? Ivy, where do I put it? Can I put it on line 23?
What?
Can I put my handle like on line 23?
But it's
Inside, like here,
outside of return,
outside of return.
but like
Wow,
inside.
For return.
you are good.
I know, right?
All right, let's handle the imports. Use callback needs to be imported. Superbase needs to import it. Fetch post needs to be imported. What? What about fetch post?
Like this.
Question. Does fetch post go into this component or stay in landing?
Oh,
Landing.
it goes into both because
Who else needs handle fetch post?
no one.
Everyone.
Who else needs fetch post? That will be fetch
be-
trending post.
The only.
Put it in post. Put it in the post list. Is that what you're saying? Only post list, right? So if we move fetch post into this function,
That's nice.
does that mean this state goes in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, okay, let's do that. We're gonna move the states in here as well as the fetch post function in here. Okay, I just saw some errors. I don't have the use effect here, but can I move the use effect in there too?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna move the use state down here. I mean, use effect down here. I need to import a use effect, obviously. What other errors do I have? Let's see.
What about the use case?
Oh, I have this error. I no longer have the state post to pass into the props.
There.
Huh?
But it-
Can I remove it?
Yeah.
I can remove it. And what other things can I remove? I can also remove it from the props. I can remove it from the props because it's now one of my states, right? Ooh, we just cut down on the complexity of our app. Let's handle all the imports.
Oh,
Everything's here now. Uh-oh, very good. Let's see, what's the next item we need to figure out? Set modal open. Can we share this with other places?
so
Set post modal open. Where do we get it from? Hmm? The landing page, right? The landing page. Okay, so how do we send it in here? How do we send this method in here?
Right.
We need props, right? Set close. Remember? We just did it. Set post modal open. We're gonna pass this in. It's gonna give me an error. And I'm gonna go up to the props, say set closed. They're going to be hover, React dispatch. We can memorize this by now, right? This is how I can memorize most things I work on. I just have to do it over and over again. And ChatGPT was able to, the AI, the tab thing is able to cut down on these repeated tasks that I have to do over and over again. Do you now see the pattern of the work that I have to do every single day? And that's where AI can help me. That's why I like AI. As software engineers, it's not about how much code you can write, because a lot of the code that you write is repetitive. As long as you understand the idea behind how to design the software, the coding part is just like 20% of your total time spent on a project. Okay. It's more about the thoughts. You understand how the flow of data goes in, out of a component, up and down the component tree. Okay. It's the idea that matters. And it's the idea that can help you become unreplaceable. Does that make sense? Shut up, Ray. Right, so we can access it from here. And then what do we do down here? What do we do with this? Take a look. Error free now. And is my landing page error free? Looks like I have a lot of errors. Okay, most of these errors are imports no longer being used. So what do we do? Ooh, delete. Fragments not even in here anymore. Class names no longer used here. Post no longer used in here. What other things can we get rid of? Handle logout. I think this handle logout should go into the navbar. Navbar. I'll just put this here. I'll use it some other time. Just import Superbase. Oh, navigate. Where's my navigate? Right here. Use navigate. I'm gonna take this, put this in here. Import. All right, cool. So my navbar is error-free. My landing page is completely error-free, no error at all. We're down to 91 lines of code. Is there anything else we can extract? How'd you get rid of this comment? I don't need this comment. We're down to 89 lines of code. Everything that's left is layout, right? Any questions so far? Are you happy to see 900 down to 90? We
Yeah.
cut down 1,000 down to 90. Very satisfying. We're down, we just cut down 90% of the code on this page. Now this page is very clear, right? If you want to fix something, you want to update something, you want to add something, you know exactly where to go. Everything is super clear. Everything is named correctly. Okay. So Ray, I don't want you to name your component things like I hate Peter 1, 2, 3. This is exactly the reason. Okay. If you name your component something like that, you would be lost yourself, even if you extract your components.
Post tabs, dot, I hate you.
Right.
That's how I mean this. In the function problem.
All right. So now let's talk about reusable layouts. That's very, very exciting. Reusable layout basically means we're going to extract these layouts into another component, and we're going to leave these places of slot that we can insert our components in. Okay. Sounds good. We're going to start with a bigger layout. What's the big layout on this page? What are some of the lines that you can draw across the page to separate your sections of your page? First of all, what's up here? The navbar, right? Every website needs a navbar, and every page needs a navbar. So I'm going to draw a line across this top over here along the top, and leave the top part for call it navbar. Okay, everything's good. On the bottom part, I have how many columns? Three columns. Column left, column right, and column middle. Okay, so I would call it left, center, and right. Okay, so I just drew 1 line, 2 lines, and 3 lines, and my page is now in 4 different sections. Does that make sense? I can now put my vertical nav into the left part, my box, my tabs, my list into the center, and then who to follow and trending into the right. Okay, now everything has a place to go. In the future, if I want to extend my landing page, I can continue to add on more components here. They would just follow the same layouts, and I have a lot of flexibility in extending. So let's start by building a component called layout. Component, new file, layout. I'm going to call it layout. Okay, so I need to first define my interface. Props. Like I said, I need to have a navbar. That's going to be React Node. Okay, React Node is just basically HTML, means HTML. You can put HTML in here or React components in. I can also put left, that's going to be a React Node. Center, that's also going to be a React Node. Right, it's going to be React Node. Any questions so far? I'm going to come here and then input the props. And I'm going to access navbar, left, center, and right. Okay. Does everything make sense to you so far, guys? Yeah? You sure? Okay. So I'm going to return. All right. So in order for me to return, I need to first study my components. Okay. I'm going to take this entire thing, move it into here. Okay. And then for navbar, what can I replace it with? Instead of the components, what can I replace it with? Navbar. You see that? With my vertical nav, what can I replace it with?
Left.
Left. What about these? Center.
Oh,
Oh, by the way, this is not just the center here. This entire thing is the center, right? Right?
oops.
What about here? Do I start changing here or do I include div?
Do the thing.
Include div, right? Okay. What about here? Do I need a post modal? Probably not. I don't need a post modal on my layout, right? Yeah, because it doesn't exist on every single page. It will be specific to the landing page. Okay. All right, so error-free layouts. Let's see how we can use it. Exciting stuff happens now. We're going to start by adding a layout here. And then we're going to fill stuff in. Navbar is going to be navbar. Okay, we can get rid of this. Left is going to be vertical nav. Center is going to be what? This whole thing, right? Right is going to be including the div. Oops. And we also don't forget the post modal, but this div is no longer used. Get rid of it. And then because React doesn't like it when we have two children, so we're going to move this layout into the fragment. Ah. And React doesn't like it when we have multiple children for the center. So what do we do here?
Two arrows.
Very good. Error-free. Does it make sense? Now for the center, we can make it even better by changing the center to be named children, because it's in the center. That's the most important. That's the most important components for this layout, right? We're going to rename it to children. Change this name to children. Change this name to children. And then guess what? We can take this, remove the center props, and then open up the layout components. I'm going to open the wrong stuff. Open up the layout component, add a closing tag layout component, put the children right inside here. That is the children. And we're done. We have the layout ready to go. Let's take a look at the page. Nothing changes. Okay, this is our layout. We can reuse this layout on multiple pages. They will follow the same navbar, left, children, right. Okay, does it make sense? This is a little more than I promised you, about 13 lines of code. Actually, 23 lines of code. Okay, not less than 10, but close, right? Makes sense, right? Okay. If you want, we can just put the post modal inside of the children and get rid of the fragments around the layout. That would be easier, I guess, right? Yeah, this is the final code. And check session. I guess the check session can go somewhere, but actually we need a profile, so we need to keep the check session. Fetch profile goes along with check session, so that cannot be removed. I think we're extended to the nuts. Okay, we can't do any more extractions. This is the simplest form. About 83 lines of code. About the lines of code that it took to make a to-do list. Yeah, to-do list is about 80 lines of code. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, that's it for today's class.